Good afternoon, everybody. It is Friday Travel Trivia. I'm back. I took a little bit of a break last week, but I'm excited to do travel trivia with you all today. Just a quick introduction while I wait for some people to get on the chat. I'm Marty from Down the Rabbit Hole Travel, and every Friday, almost every Friday, I try to, but every Friday I do a Friday travel trivia. It's based on a place that I've actually been so that I feel like I have a little bit of knowledge to share and some stories to tell. And I do 10 questions based on that place. And you all get a chance to race in the chat with your fast typing fingers and answer the question. The first person to get the answer on my stream that I can see gets the point, and at the end of the chat, the person with the most points gets a channel shout out and a link in the description box below. So hopefully I can help your channel grow too while having some fun. I see Bottle Caps is here, and am I saying this right? Kawaii Squishes Roblox. I like your name. Kawaii Squishes was just at Callaway Park the other day. I'm a little bit jealous. Morocco Travel Blog is here. Hello to you. I'm good. I don't have kids today. We're having a dinner party tonight for my husband's work. So I sent the kids to day home so that I could clean the house and do my live stream. Happy birthday, Kawaii Squishes. Oh, I hope you win today just because it's your birthday. Skylark Berto is here. Hello. I'm so excited. Today we're going to talk about Paris. I don't know if anybody in the chat has been to Paris before. I'm definitely not an expert. I was in Paris last in 2010, which is a long time ago. Hello, it's me, Brian. Welcome to the stream. I hope you guys have fun today. I'm excited. It's the weekend, and it's not smoky today. It rained last night, so we don't have any of the BC forest fire smoke. So it's a nice day. I'm excited for the weekend. As I was saying, I've only been to Paris once, and that was back in 2010. And I also had, how many did I have? 18 or 19 junior high students with me, ages from 11 to 13. And I was the lead teacher, so I was in charge of all these kids. And I had a bunch of their parents and grandparents along as chaperones. So I had a giant crowd of people that I was responsible for. So Paris wasn't the most dreamy romantic trip that I've ever been on, because I had to haul all these people around with me. But I had a good time and I saw lots of stuff. Why, thank you, Morocco Travel Blog. I feel like I don't look that great today because I just blow dried my hair about 2 seconds before the stream started. Let's see. It's me, Brian, Morocco Travel Blog, Kawaii Squishes, Skylark Berto, and Bottle Caps. Are you ready to start the trivia? If you are, give me a thumbs up and I'll jump into the first question because I don't want to ramble too much at the beginning of my live stream. I hate when I do that. Is it bad weather for you, Kawaii Squishes? It's raining here. It's cloudy. It's kind of dismal, but I like it because there's no smoke. Thank you, Bottle Cats. Happy weekend to you too, Morocco Travel Vlog. I hope you guys have some good plans this weekend. We have a wedding to go to this weekend, and I'm really excited because it will be our first wedding that we take the kids to, and they both love to dance, so I'm excited to see them dancing like little hooligans. Okay, it's me, Brian says he is ready for the trivia. So, question number 1. The Eiffel Tower, Paris's most iconic piece of architecture, was built in 1889 for the World Fair as kind of an exhibit piece by Gustave Eiffel. They left it up for 10, 20 years. And in about 1909, they decided they'd had enough of it. A lot of Paris thought it was an eyesore. And they actually petitioned to have the Eiffel Tower dismantled and taken down. They left it up for one reason. What is that one reason that we still have the Eiffel Tower today? Why did they decide to leave it up instead of taking it down? I can't even imagine Paris without the Eiffel Tower. It's so iconic. Does anybody know the one reason why the Eiffel Tower was left standing in 1909? Am I buffering? Oh. I think I can see it. Oh. Am I buffering, bottle caps? On my playback thing, it looks like I'm just smiling like an idiot while the thing circles round and round. By the way, bottle caps, you got the right answer. Bottle caps got the right answer. Okay, I'm not buffering. Good. There was a radio antenna sticking out of the very tippy top of the Eiffel Tower. And the military wanted to continue using that because there were rumblings of a war coming up, the First World War. And so they decided they were not going to take the Eiffel Tower down because they needed to use the radio antenna that was sticking out of the top. So basically the Eiffel Tower is just one giant glorified antenna. Obviously now in this day and age, they don't use it, but that was the main reason. Otherwise, if they hadn't had that antenna, the Eiffel Tower would have been taken down and the Paris skyline would look nothing like the way it does today. So, bottle caps in the lead. And write your name on here with point number 1. This could be your day, bottle caps. All right, are you ready for number 2? My playback thing is still buffering and stuff. I'm just gonna refresh it and maybe it'll work better because I look really stupid. Okay, there we go, it's working. All right, hello the cutting board. I'm glad you could stop in, even if you're not gonna stay for the trivia. It's good to see you. And feel free to watch the replay later if you wanna learn some random facts about Paris. All right, question number 2. Oh, Caribou Country Outdoors, welcome. I'm glad you're here. You just made it. We're just starting question number 2. If a crepe is a sweet French dessert popular in Paris, what is a galette? I will type the word into the chat so you know what I'm talking about. What is a galette? I love crepes. My parents used to make crepes for like Sunday morning breakfasts, but nobody likes crepes better than Parisians. So if a crepe is a sweet French dessert, then what is a galette? Oh, this chair is not comfortable. I didn't mention at the beginning for those of you new to the trivia stream, but you are allowed to use Google. I'm cool with that because I realize not everybody has been to these locations before. It's not a crusty cake, which I'm not sure sounds very appetizing, Kauai. A crusty cake. A French brazier. Did you ever watch that movie Beaches? Bette Midler sings a song called Otto Titzling. It's like one of my favorite songs about bras. Hello, Caribou Country Outdoors. You're just popping in to say hey and show some support. Okay, well, if you can't say, that's okay. But I'm glad you came to say hi. It's not a cookie either. I'm giving you a really big clue in the first part of the question. If a crepe is a popular sweet French dessert, then what is a galette? So if you don't know what a crepe is, it's like a pancake batter, but they pour it really thin over this special convex, is that the shape? A convex cooking surface, and it cooks really, really thin. And then in Paris, they really like to put Nutella inside, and then they roll it up so it's like a little dessert wrap with a very, very thin pancake wrap. So a galette is the question, almost gave it away. A crepe is the sweet French dessert that looks like that little wrap. And a galette is something very similar. It is food. Just looking for maybe a little more detail. You know, you can Google it. A galette. If you don't know what it is, I'll give you guys like maybe 10 more seconds and then I'll just give the answer. It's not a crusty cake. That's what Kawaii Squishes said too. I wonder if they have two types of galettes. All right, so a galette is exactly like a crepe, except it's not made with sweetened flour. Like you don't make it like a sweet pancake batter. You make it with buckwheat flour, so it's unflavored, like a bread batter. And then they pour it over this inverted drum thing, and they make savory crepes. So they fill it with like meat or cheese or roasted vegetables. So a galette is like a meal crepe, where the crepe itself is a dessert. So yes, Nutella. I love Nutella. So when you go to Paris, they have all these crepe restaurants. And that's all you eat when you go there. You can order a galette for lunch or dinner, which is that flat pancake wrap. And they fill that with meat and cheese and vegetables. And so you eat the galettes for your main meal. And then you order a crepe for dessert. And they fill that with cream and Nutella and fruit and all that kind of stuff. So everything you eat at these crepe restaurants is all wrapped up. So that is a galette. I'm not sure if there's another kind of galette that's a French crusty cake. But from what I know of galettes, it is the unsweetened crepe that's filled with like lunchtime food. Anyways, they're really good. So I wanted to show you a picture because street food is getting really popular nowadays, like food trucks and people having those little wagons where they do street food. And I was expecting to see some sort of street food when we went to Paris. But what I didn't expect was street crepes. So there was this guy on the side of the road with a wagon that had this gigantic, I don't know what kind of cooking surface it's called. I just call it a big cooking drum. And he was cooking crepes just out there in the open. Now, of course, I can't find the page. I was just looking at it before the stream. Here we go. So he's pouring the batter over top of this drum, and then he would spread it out as flat and as thin as he could. And then he'd flip it around and cook the other side. And then he'd just stuff it full of Nutella and top it with whipped cream, and it was so delicious. But you could just buy crepes on the side of the road, and they were delicious. My Gordon Ramsay cookbook says it's a crusty cake. All right, you know what? I will give a point for Kawaii and for bottle caps for the crusty cake answer, even though that's not what I think of as a galette. But if Gordon Ramsay says it so, then it must be true. So 2 points for bottle caps and a point for Kawaii Squishes for teaching me a new definition of galette. Awesome. Okay, question number 3. This one's pretty easy, so get your typing fingers ready. What is the most famous of all the paintings that are housed in the Louvre Museum? So the Louvre Museum, that's a mouthful, used to be a palace for the royals before they decided to get out of stinky old Paris and live in the golden plated palace of Versailles. And once they left the Louvre, it became a military stronghold, I believe, and then it became a museum. And in this museum is a super duper famous painting that everybody should recognize. What is the Louvre's most famous painting? I'm gonna have a sip of coffee. You shouldn't really have to Google this one. There are thousands and thousands of paintings in the Louvre, but this one should stand out for everybody. Yeah. I can give you a clue. She was stolen from the Louvre in 1911. And until she was stolen, she was not popular. And she gained popularity afterwards. And Bottle Caps got it. With kawaii squishes coming in so close afterwards. It's the Mona Lisa. The Mona Lisa, by the way, is like, see if I can get my hands in the thing. She's like maybe that big. Like she's not a big painting. I have a picture frame I could pick up, but she's really not big. I always pictured her as being like this huge canvas. But when I went to the Louvre, she's just this little portrait hanging on the wall behind bulletproof glass. There's this big railing that you have to stand behind, and then there's bulletproof glass in front of her. But she's not that impressive in regards to picture size. But yeah, she was kind of a nothing painting. I mean, she was I think it's Da Vinci. Yeah, she was Da Vinci painting. So that was kind of cool, but she didn't stand out very much until in 1911, somebody who worked at the museum decided he was going to take her and steal her and bring her home to Italy because he didn't feel that a painting done by an Italian artist should be sitting in a French museum. So he stole the Mona Lisa. He couldn't get rid of it, so I think he kept it in his apartment for years, just like eating breakfast, staring at this famous painting because he didn't know what to do with it. Eventually he got caught. The Mona Lisa got returned to the museum. And by that time, such a big hype had been made about this painting that she then became famous. And now she's probably the most famous painting in the world, but definitely the most famous painting in the Louvre. The Louvre has tons of good stuff. When I took those junior high kids there, like it's impossible to see everything in the museum. So they gave us a scavenger hunt, which was really fun. Hello, Tennessee Adventures. Thank you for stopping in. I appreciate the like. I'm not even paying attention to how many likes it has. I don't even have that on my screen right now, but I appreciate the like. Feel free to share this stream. We have 6 people in here now, according to my screen, but if we get more people in here, it'll be a little more competitive and a little more fun to have more people answering. But thank you, Tennessee Adventures, for stopping by. My favorite part of the Louvre was the Pyramid Inversée, which is French for upside down pyramid, just because it was in the movie The Da Vinci Code. I think there's a picture of me touching the very tip of it. Maybe not. Here we go. So here is the Pyramid Inversée, and according to the movie The Da Vinci Code, Mary is buried like under the floor, underneath the Pyramid Inversée. But that I was excited to see that because I like Tom Hanks, I like that movie, and I got to actually see the little bit of artwork that was featured in it. And that's really all I'll say about the Louvre. I could talk about art all day, but I won't. So, Bottle Caps, you are in the lead with 3 points today. Can you give me half a point? I can't. But you're on the board with 1 kawaii squishes, and you can catch up. I have faith that you can catch up. So here's another chance to catch up. Question number 4. This one's easy. What famous theme park is located near the city of Paris? What famous theme park is located near the city of Paris? It has 2 names. I'll take either one. I went there when I was 16 and had a blast. Oh, we're down to 3 viewers. Maybe I should hop onto Twitter real fast and share this again. Live now. come and join us. Beep. All right, I see an answer from Bottle Caps. It's a half answer. You're right, though. It's not quite Disney, though. The actual Disney is in the States. But I'll give it to you. It's Disneyland Paris. But you're right. It is a Disney theme park. Bottle Caps. So yeah, I got to go there when I was 16. I didn't even know I was going. I went to go visit some pen pals that I had in England. And we were just hanging out, and my friend's mom said, hey, pack your bags. We're going to go on a little adventure. So we packed our bags. She drove us to the port at, I think it was Dover. We got on a ferry across the English Channel where there was a bunch of soldiers, and it was really fun. And then we took a coach into Paris, and I woke up. I fell asleep on the coach. It was an overnight coach. I woke up the next morning and we were headed to Disneyland Paris, and it was such a cool surprise for somebody who wasn't expecting it. So Disneyland Paris is the famous theme park that is outside of Paris. Disney has obviously 2 resorts in the States, but they also have one in Tokyo and one in Paris. I've never been to the one in the States, so that's the only Disney resort I've ever been to, was Disneyland Paris. So Bottle Caps has 4 points, and Kawaii Squishes has 1. All right, question number 5. What is the nickname? This one's hard. I'm gonna let you know it's a little bit hard. What is the nickname of the souvenir sellers that loiter under the Eiffel Tower and near other famous landmarks? These people have a nickname. They come loaded with boxes and bags full of these trinkety little souvenirs, and they heckle you and they get in your face and they try and sell you all these souvenirs. And so they have a nickname because of all their flashy souvenirs that they bring. If you are a rapper, you might appreciate this name. I don't even know if you Google it, if it will show up. I only know this name because our tour guide told us that this is what the people of Paris call these souvenir sellers. Oh, there's some stuff here. This might be too hard of a question. I could change the question maybe. Okay, I'll keep telling my story and I'll change the question. So these souvenir sellers, I'm going to give you the answer. They're called bling bling boys because they have all this blingy stuff like shiny keychains and little statues of the Eiffel Tower. Hi, DR Outdoors. Thank you for joining. So they come, they shove all this stuff in your face. They kind of almost harass you to buy their souvenirs. But as soon as one cop enters the plaza, they all skedaddle. So here's my new question. Why? Why do the bling bling boys run away when any law enforcement enters the plaza? This will be easier to get because you can guess this one. I don't think anybody would have guessed bling bling boys. And I don't know the French version of bling bling boys either. So DR, you can't stay long. You're just coming to say hi. Bottle Caps is ahead. We need someone to challenge him. Not that I don't want you to win, Bottle Caps. So why do the bling bling boys, who are the souvenir sellers in Paris, run away when a cop enters the plaza? For 1 point. Yes, 52. You know them, hey? They're in your face. They get in kids' faces. They're annoying. I mean, I get they're trying to make ends meet, but they are aggressive. You're sort of close, bottle caps. It's not illegal to sell souvenirs. There's something else illegal about it. Oh, you're so close, bottle caps. The souvenirs themselves are legal. There's a big clue. Thanks for joining, 52. It's good to see you. It's not that they need a license to sell. I mean, I guess not all of them run away and hide, but it's like a wave. They're all there in your face, and then you'll see like a police officer walking by, and whoosh, the place just clears out. And then 10, 15 minutes later, they start to kind of trickle back into your face. So it's not because the souvenirs are illegal, and it's not because they're lacking a license to sell. They're definitely lacking something. And keep in mind, this was 2010. This was quite a while ago. And with all like the refugee stuff happening in Europe, I'm not sure if the situation has changed. But this is what I learned when I was there. Something's illegal, and it's not the souvenirs. Come on, somebody get a point. I'm just giving you the answer. Copyright infringement. You've gone through basically everything that could possibly be illegal, except for the one thing that is actually illegal in this situation. Donald Trump wouldn't stand for it. That's another clue. I'm waiting. Is it a pass? Do you all pass? I'll give you 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. The answer is the bling bling boys are illegal immigrants. And so if they get caught doing anything like existing in Paris, they will get deported back to where they came from. So all these people, they're trying to make a living as best they can, but they can't get regular jobs. So they get these boxes of souvenirs and they go and try and sell them on the streets. But if they get caught by law enforcement, they have to go and hide. Yes, but you didn't say what's illegal, bottle caps. You just said it's illegal. The answer I was looking for is illegal immigrants. I don't know. That's stretching it. So anyways, I found it interesting and also a little bit sad that these people had to live in the shadows like that. They'd go out, they'd push and push and push to try and get you to buy what they were selling because they're kind of desperate. But then as soon as they saw any flash of danger, they would just hightail it out of there. They would like leave you in the middle of a sale because they'd haggle with you. You could haggle, but they would leave in the middle of a deal because they had to go hide. So it was interesting watching these people kind of come and go in waves. And I found it a little bit sad too. So I'm not going to give a point to anybody for that one. Nobody got the fact that they were illegal immigrants. But that's okay. So bottle caps, you've still got 4. Kauai has 1. And I'm on to question 6. What is the name of the major river that runs through Paris? What is the name of the major river that runs right through Paris? And I pronounced it wrong for such a long time until we actually got to Paris, and then I learned that I was pronouncing it wrong. Not the one I had. He wanted to fist fight. Oh, he didn't want to haggle with you, 52? Yeah, I don't know. I don't want to be like rude or anything, but they kind of gave me the creeps a little bit because they were quite desperate to sell their stuff, to the point where they'd follow you around. They were harassing my students. My kids were like 11, 12, 13 years old, and they were kind of harassing my students. And so me and the chaperones had to be like hovering over the kids. Awesome. The Seine is the major river that flows through Paris. The whole time I was getting these students ready to travel to Paris, because we did like an options class where I kind of tried to teach them the culture and some of the language and getting them ready to travel to Europe. I pronounced it the Seine. Whoopsies, I maybe should have looked that up before I started teaching junior high kids. And then when we got to Paris, everyone was pronouncing it the Seine, like S-E-N. So 52 got that point for the River Seine. We got to go on a Seine River cruise. We got to go on one of those sightseeing boats. And on the cruise, you get to pass the Ile de Cité with Notre Dame Cathedral and pass under all those famous bridges like Pont Neuf and Pont des Arts. It was a really nice cruise. So if you are going to Paris and you want to see the most you can in an afternoon, I highly recommend going on one of the Seine River cruises. So that was fun. All right, good job, 52. So bottle caps with 4 points, Kauai with 1, and 52 with 1. And we're on to question 7. How many people are estimated to be interred in the underground Paris catacombs? I'm not going to say buried because they were not properly buried in the Paris catacombs. They were unceremoniously dumped. But how many bodies do they figure are down in the Paris catacombs? And you can just give me the estimate because I don't know for sure how many are there, but they have an estimate. So 52 did the evening Seine cruise. That would have been really pretty, I think. We went in the afternoon. We couldn't really do too much in the evening with a bunch of junior high kids, but we did the afternoon cruise. Sorry. My favorite part was going past Notre Dame because it's amazing. When were you there, 52? Do you have Paris videos on your channel? Because if you do, I want to go watch them. Sorry, back to my question. How many people are estimated to be interred or dumped underground in the Paris catacombs? Which, by the way, the Paris catacombs was like my ultimate favorite part of Paris. It was like the main reason I wanted to go to Paris. And of course, I taught the junior highs as much as I could about it because they like morbid things as much as me. Bottle caps for the win. Over 6 million bodies are estimated to be dumped down in the Paris catacombs. Bottle caps. So I think the story of the Paris catacombs is super interesting. I won't get into too much detail, but sorry, 52, 2013. Okay, so not too much longer after I was there. I definitely want to go back without 19 junior high students. And I'd like to go with my husband because I think it could be a really romantic, fun city to go visit. But I was super stressed the whole time we were there. I was worried we were going to lose a student. Somebody got pickpocketed while we were there, and I'll tell you that story later. But it was a bit of a stressful trip. So anyways, the Paris catacombs are actually a series of underground tunnels left over from quarry workers, so digging out chunks of rock so they can build roads and houses and stuff. And there's this massive, extensive system of all these underground tunnels. Some of them are like collapsing. Some of them they've restructured so that they can send tourists down there. Some of them are gated off and it's illegal to go down there, but lots of people do. They have had underground rave parties down there that have been illegal and non-sanctioned. They've discovered underground theaters in the Paris catacombs where people like go to film or what's that called? Screen horror movies and stuff. They have found World War II bunkers down there. Like these Paris catacombs are super interesting, and I highly recommend anybody watching like a documentary or doing more research on them. But in, I forget what year, I think it was in the 1800s, they had run out of space in the cemeteries. Like if you live beside a cemetery, there would be the danger that your basement wall would collapse inwards and bodies would just tumble into your basement, because these cemeteries were just overcrowded and they were burying bodies on top of bodies, and it was unstable. And they said, like, we can't do this anymore. We have to get rid of all these bodies. We have to kind of clear some space. So they dug up millions of bodies and bones. They didn't really wrap them carefully together. They just jumbled them inside carts and wagons, and they rode them over to the catacombs, and they just dumped them into these rooms and these tunnels in the catacombs. So that's how all the bodies got down there. So you can go through the catacombs. You'll see rooms where there's bones just piled and jumbled, just bones upon bones upon bones, and they're all human remains. But some creative people have gone into the catacombs and done like artful designs where there's rows and rows of like femur bones and then skulls arranged in patterns. And they've tried to make the bones look as pretty as possible. And it was my favorite part of Paris. I loved it. If I can find the picture. We had such a blast exploring the catacombs. I don't even, yeah. So things like that. It's really dark, so my pictures aren't the best. So some places, their bones would just be piled up like this in a big mass. I should maybe show students' faces. But sometimes there would be designs like this where the skulls would be poking through and the femurs would be layered and layered. I found it extremely interesting. So if you go to Paris, you should definitely go check out the catacombs. Bottlecap says it's recommended by Foreign Affairs Canada not to visit Europe right now. Is that because of the stuff that's going down with Saudi Arabia and Justin Trudeau having the, I don't know. I get where Justin Trudeau is coming from, but I don't think it's right to stick your nose too far deep into other people's businesses. But I am all for women's rights too. I don't want to get into politics. I would be horrible at politics. I'd cry every day. The Black Plague was hard on Europe. Yes, yes, it was. That's an understatement, hey? Okay, so Bottlecap's got that point for 6 million bodies down in the Paris catacombs. My favorite part of Paris. Question number 8. I like to say the word famous a lot, apparently. What is the most famous room in all of the Palace of Versailles? So Versailles is technically not located within Paris, but you can get on to the metro and it's a quick train ride, or you can take a series of buses, but it's a quick distance out of Paris. And this is the new castle or the new palace that the royals built when they decided to leave the Louvre and move into the village of Versailles. And this palace is amazing. It's huge, it's sprawling. Everything is gold plated. Like the fence on the outside is gold plated. There's so much artwork there. Marie Antoinette lived there. So my question is, what is the most famous room in the Palace of Versailles? Of all the thousands of rooms located in this place, there's one that is the most photographed, that is the most striking. 52, got it, nice and fast too. The Hall of Mirrors, which was my actual second favorite room in the Palace of Versailles. I'll tell you about my first favorite later. But the Hall of Mirrors is a long, long, long ballroom, basically, filled with mirrors on either side, and on the roof there's beautiful murals and paintings and chandeliers. And the lighting is designed to bounce off all these mirrors, so it looks like the whole room is just shining and glowing. And it was built for intimidation, mostly. So the monarch, I think it was Louis XVI. Correct me if I'm wrong, 52. He's the main one that lived there. And he would sit at the very end on his throne, his dais, and they would have this long carpet going all through, and the courtiers and everybody would stand along the edges. And if you had a plea or a question or something that you wanted to ask the king, you'd have to walk the whole distance of the Hall of Mirrors with all the courtiers and everybody staring at you as you went, and the king way at the other end, this figurehead. So the Hall of Mirrors was mainly built to intimidate visitors and people who were requesting things. So it is very beautiful. When we were there, it was really crowded, so I wasn't that impressed with it. It's hard to get the full effect when the room is full of like 100 people and you can't actually see the mirrors and the light's not glowing properly because people are wandering all over the place. It was pretty, but it wasn't my favorite room. My favorite room was actually Marie Antoinette's public bedroom, which was just a small room, and it wasn't even, it's like a 3-walled room. There's no 4th wall. Hi, Chips Outdoor Channel. Yeah, we're already on question 8, but that's okay. You can still learn some things about Paris. Yes, every normal person hated him. Yeah, Louis the Sun King, right? That's what he was called. Totally into himself. Anyways, Marie Antoinette's bedroom doesn't have a 4th wall because all the courtiers, the royals' business was everybody's business. So Marie Antoinette had to live her life without a 4th wall, basically. So she would get ready for bed with like 50 to 60 courtiers standing on the other side of this rope, watching her, giving her advice, telling her what to do. She would go to bed, she would lay in her bed, she would pretend to sleep. They would usher the courtiers away. Then she would get up and there's actually a secret door hidden in the wallpaper pattern behind her room, which would lead to her real bedroom, which was behind this wall. So she would have to pretend to sleep, go through all this rigmarole with all these people watching, wait and wait and wait, and then she could actually like leave the public bedroom and actually go have a nice normal sleep in her private bedroom. But what really struck me was the story the tour guide told us was she actually had to birth her children in her public bedroom with all these people watching. So she had to lay there like buck naked in pain, giving birth to babies with like 50 to 60 people watching and commenting and giving advice, and like so awkward. There's no way I would have wanted to be a royal. No way. So bad. But because of the interesting story, that was my favorite room in Versailles. As 50Tube said though, the gardens he liked the best. Yes, the gardens are fantastic. I don't know if I can find them in here quickly because I'm not very good at flipping through this book quickly. Aha. So sorry, here's Marie Antoinette's public bedroom. She has like big, massive bed, so beautiful. And then hidden in the wallpaper just off to the side would have been her secret door, her secret access to get into her real bedroom. I often need advice before going to bed too. Yeah, me too. I watched this one movie about the French royalty. Kate Winslet was in it. I can't remember what it was called, but the king had constipation. And he had 100 people sitting there while he was trying to poop. And I'm like, this is a movie, but this is probably pretty accurate. And they were giving him advice on how to poop, and it was funny, but at the same time, I'm like, this is probably how it actually happened. And that would have been awful. So here's the gardens at Versailles. They look like something out of Alice in Wonderland. They had all the hedges all trimmed nicely, little garden paths, fake lakes. They actually used to go boating and do shows out on the water. And that lake is man-made, so that's not a natural lake. They made that lake. All the shrubberies were trimmed into cone shapes. It was really pretty. Trust me, it's really creepy watching a woman give birth. Yeah, I did it twice, bottle caps. I know how awful it is. I would not want a crowd of 50 people watching me. I had complications with my first. There were 12 people in the room by the time I was done, and that was bad enough. But I would not want to do it publicly. Okay, so 52 got a point. Before we get into childbirth and all that disgusting stuff, let's just move on. Question number 9. What important religious artifact is found inside Notre Dame Cathedral? I'm not really religious, but I find it interesting that this particular relic you can go view and go see inside Notre Dame Cathedral. So what important religious relic can be found inside Notre Dame Cathedral? I would ask you what's really creepy about bottle caps, but I don't want to know, actually. I don't think we should get into it. I just know it's not fun. So what important religious artifact, or relic, I guess they're called, is found inside Notre Dame Cathedral? Oh God, here we go. French cooking is pretty greasy. Are you talking about the king that was constipated? Oh yeah. I'm not gonna. It was a movie. I don't know if that actually happened, but it was a funny part of the movie. I think it was one of Alan Rickman's last movies before he passed away. So I don't know if people are Googling right now or if they've just given up. What is the important religious relic that you can find inside Notre Dame Cathedral? The answer is just a quick Google away. You don't have to be religious to answer the question. You don't have to believe in it. I just find it interesting that something, I guess, this significant is there in the Notre Dame Cathedral. Hello, wee Bob. Welcome. Only here for a few minutes as I'm heading to watch a movie. What movie? Like the theater? I haven't been to the theater in forever. 52, got it. It is the Crown of Thorns. Like, isn't that a pretty important religious artifact? So I think they have it sitting obviously in a glass case, can't just pass it around and look at it. It's inside a case on a cushion. And they have like I think it's bulletproof. It has some sort of glass tube around it too. So it's in a glass case, in a glass tube, sitting on a cushion, but it's supposedly the Crown of Thorns itself. Hello, Stokes Explorer. Welcome. We're already on question 9, but we're talking about Paris. Do you write in the chat? Yes, wee Bob. Hi. I find it hard to write in the chat and talk and read questions and do all my stuff at the same time, so I don't talk in the chat much, but I read it. Jesus himself is not in Notre Dame Cathedral, bottle caps, but supposedly his crown of thorns is. No, just up the stairs. Okay, you're watching a movie at home. Ooh, with the big projector screen. That is nice. Yeah, it is interesting, Chip. Who knows if it's the real crown of thorns? I don't know, but it's pretty cool that something that significant is there for people to view. So I found that really interesting. Notre Dame Cathedral is probably one of my favorite pieces of architecture in Paris. I like it even more than the Eiffel Tower. Oh yes, you typed the answers in chat, wee Bob. Sorry. Yes. Yeah, if you shout them out, I can't hear you. So you have to type them in chat. I'm a disabled, retired BC ambulance paramedic. I've seen enough babies come into the world. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. My sister asked me to be there if she ever had kids, and I was like, I love you, but I'd go. If she needed me, I'd go. But I saw myself give birth, and that was good enough. Sorry. Can we stop talking about birth bottle caps? Talking about Notre Dame Cathedral, which is the home of the Hunchback of Notre Dame. It's located on Ile de Cité, which you can pass when you're doing that Seine boat cruise. It's the one that has the 2 square towers coming up. It's got the Gothic architecture. It's such a beautiful piece of architecture. So I love it more than the Eiffel Tower. The Eiffel Tower is cool, but Notre Dame Cathedral is breathtaking. So inside and outside. The inside is amazing. They have all these stained glass windows, and where they have put the stained glass windows is very strategic, and it makes the whole interior of the cathedral just glow with all these colors. It's fantastic. So definitely visit that if you ever have the chance to go to Paris. All right, question number 10, because I'm actually 5 minutes over my goal time, but since I don't have kids here today, I can go as long as I want. The Paris Metro, which has really cool wrought iron signs everywhere. I love the Metro signs. It runs more than 600,000 miles, 600,000 miles a day. So that's enough to go around the world how many times? So if you sat on the metro and it just went in a straight line around the world, how many times would it go around the world in one day? The Paris Metro is the second oldest metro system in the world, behind the London Underground. So the Paris Metro goes over 600,000 miles a day. So how many times around the world does it go within a day? That sucks that you had a major leg, bottle caps. I hope you have refreshed so that you have a chance to get the last question correct. You got some correct numbers there, wee Bob, but you're a little bit high. It's not that high, although that would be very impressive if it went around the world 100 times in a day. But you're close with the numbers that you have selected. And then I have one last story about the metro, and then I'll shut her down because I have to clean my house. Start throwing numbers out there, everyone. Somebody will get it right, especially since I gave a big clue that wee Bob had some really good numbers on the screen, just not the right ones. How many times a day would the Paris Metro go around the world if it went in a straight line? Kev FPV shows up out of nowhere with the right answer. Good job, Kev, and welcome. 10 times, so 600,000 miles would be about 10 times around the world. So the metro works hard. I think it has like 1.5 million passengers a day or something like that. It could have just said it was a mistaken zero, but I would be lying. You know what? At least you're honest, wee Bob. You're gonna have some good karma from that. It's going good, Kev. Thanks for joining. So we went on the metro a ton. It's actually really easy to navigate. If you have a map and you know where to go, there's so many stations. So you kind of have to pre-plan where you're going on the metro so you don't get off at the wrong place. And they have trains. The one train will come and then the next train will be coming, but it's not going to the same destination. So you have to make sure you read all the signs on the trains to make sure you don't go to the wrong place. In your face, I'm still winning. You are, bottle caps. So if you plan out your trip on the metro in advance and you know where you need to make all your changes, totally easy. I did it with my 19 junior high students and all the parents and chaperones. We only lost 2 people, but that was 2 parents who kind of just thought they knew what they were doing because they're adults and they got on the wrong train. But then they realized it, so they got off at the next station and just waited for us to show up. So if I can do it with 19 junior high students, anybody can do the metro. But the worst part about the metro was we went on during rush hour around dinner time. And all of my chaperones were really worried about keeping their kids with them. So they were paying attention to the kids, making sure they weren't going to lose any children. And one of my moms got pickpocketed while she was there. She luckily had her passport in a different pocket, but all her credit cards, all her money, all of her important cards, like her UFA card, which here in Alberta is very important. All that stuff got taken. So she had to miss the Louvre visit while she and the tour guide went down to file a police report, and then she had to go cancel her cards, and it was just brutal. So the metro is really busy. And the worst part about that story, it was children that had mugged her. 2 young children, younger than the junior high kids that I was carting around Paris, had been the ones that had mugged her. So we learned all this information about these like little kid gangs that are run by adults, and the adults wait in the station and send their kids out onto the cars, have the kids mug people, and then leave the car and come back and give that person their winnings. So it was like a modern day Oliver Twist kind of story. But so that's my warning to you all, is be very careful in the Paris Metro. Keep your stuff close, especially during busy times. Thanks for visiting, wee Bob. Enjoy your movie, enjoy family time. 52, my wife's purse was pickpocketed on the Paris Metro and they took her phone. Yeah, the metro's a bad place, and another place is the Louvre. I've heard lots of stories about people getting pickpocketed at the Louvre Museum. So another thing to keep in mind when you're out in public. I mean, it could happen anywhere, it could happen in any city, but you just have to be aware, especially in those busy places. Stokes Explore, love your live stream. Yeah, have a dislike. Yeah, I think I have one person out there that constantly gives me dislikes, so whatever. Is it because I talk too much, Bottle Caps? Is that why? Did you give me the dislike? Because you're winning. All right, 12:56. Bottle Caps is right. I have talked too much. I'm sorry. It would help if I had somebody else on the stream with me to share this burden. But the points go as follows. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 points for Bottle Caps. Looks like 3 points for 52, a point for Kauai, and a point for Kev FPV. So congratulations to Bottle Caps. You have won today's Friday Travel Trivia. So I'm going to put your channel link in the description below and give you a big channel shout out. Thanks to everybody who came today. I had lots of people that just popped in and said hello and couldn't stay. That's still awesome. And to the people that stayed the whole time, thank you so much. It was fun, a good way to start the weekend. And I hope you guys have some fun plans for this weekend. And I will talk to you later. All right, bye.